3 weeks ago, I was saying that the Carolina Panthers up until this point had an A-. The front office had an A-. To me, with you signing Jadeveon Clowney, and really, I'll just take that name because you know how I feel about Dunk. And so I'm not even going to, just for content purposes, I won't even add that into it. No bias, completely unbiased. If I'm looking at it from a standpoint of a casual, somebody that doesn't even watch the Carolina Panthers, I would have to say that A- goes up to an A. If not, and I mean, I struggle to say this just because I've been duped before and they finessed me before with the content and everything like that, but this is not even coming from a content standpoint. It's strictly what's on paper at this very second. I'm looking at an A, maybe an A+. Because you give a guy, you let a guy, you trade him away in Brian Burns, who's asking for a 4 or 5 year deal for $30 million, and you bring in Jadeveon Clowney to replace him for 2 for $20. $10 million a year to get Jadeveon Clowney. Then the immediate repair and fix was, even if we don't get Jadeveon, we'll go get DJ Wanham, who is a young guy, who is still relatively unproven. We have young guys in DJ Johnson, et cetera, that we trust. I don't trust them. But if you're thinking about this from a free agent standpoint, then cool. I mean, from a front office standpoint, then cool. But the Jadeveon Clowney signing, to me, again, 2 weeks ago, I said that was the only thing left that they had to do for me in order to feel comfortable heading into the draft, and they did that. So, this offseason, to me, I'm looking at an A. And, I mean, the only way you can go A+, just –
I know how they can do it.
How?
Going to get Gilly?
Yeah. I think that'll make it jump to an A+ for you.
Well, let's go there then.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be honest, I'm not going to lie, that would get me at an A+, and that would get me to start betting money.
I thought you didn't like fucking. I thought you didn't like Gilly.
Well, I mean,
who was it that was ready to throw him on the fucking chopping block? Talking about he's too old. He's
both of us.
But look, this is also what I said in that same breath. I said that, and I told Dylan the same thing. You don't go get Gilly before you go get Jadeveon.
Yes, you did. You did say that. That's on record.
And so I was like, I mean, there's no way, because information about him leaking, like us close to signing him, came before we were even close to signing Jadeveon. Like, we had already had conversations about it, but and I was just like, I mean, if you're going to make that move, if that's the last move we're going to make, then no, just go in the draft and get somebody. But I think that now that you went and signed Jadeveon Clowney, and then if you still have the money, if there's still interest there, you go get Gilly. Because, I mean, he will still be a solid corner for what we have as a pretty pedestrian cornerback room outside of J.C. Horn, which we don't know if he can even stay healthy. So if he can't stay healthy, then he's pretty pedestrian too, because the best ability is availability. That's something that we always say. So I would say what would put it to an A+ is go get Gilly. You can still go in the draft and get a young corner, have him develop. What would be a better mentorship than Stephon Gilmore, who was a former, Defensive Player of the Year?
Yep.
Yes.
2019.
Super Bowl champion?
Yep.
Yes.
So, I mean, J.C. Horn, young guy, but we know when J.C. Horn is healthy, in my opinion, he's a top cornerback in the league.
Absolutely.
And so why not go get a dog in the draft who can learn from those two guys? So, I mean, yeah, I think to send it to an A+, then you can go get Gilly. But if you don't, I don't hate you.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you don't make that happen, then I'm not sick at it. But also, just to go off of that, we thought Jadeveon Clowney was a Jet. Well, I did. When we recorded last week, I said I believe that Jadeveon Clowney would be signing with the Jets. So when you lose out on a guy that I said that was the only move left to be had, in my opinion, to take you to an A from an A-, then in my thinking it's just like, bro, yeah, I mean, Gilly is cool, but that's not a consolation for you losing Brian Burns and not going to get a guy that can at least get you 7.5, 8 sacks a year consistently in Jadeveon Clowney. They did that. Jadeveon Clowney comes in, damn near one of the first things he says is, yeah, I'm trying to recruit bro home. I'm trying to go get Gilly. So if it's that type energy, then yeah. Because I need people in the building that's ready to slide behind Charlotte, ready to slide behind the Carolina Panthers. And with them having that connection to South Carolina, with them both attending South Carolina, with them pretty much being at home 45, 50 minutes up the road, yeah, let's get money. Let's get money. Simple as that. I mean, do I love this? Do I love the Stephon Gilmore pickup if it does happen? I mean, I don't love it. I still feel the same way. I'm not going to sit here and act like my stance is going to change. Like, my stance still doesn't change. I still do believe he's old. I still do believe that his best years of football are behind him. I still believe that he may be able to give us 1, maybe 2 years. But, I mean, I feel a lot more comfortable with rolling him and JC out than JC and whoever else you want to throw out there. Because we don't even know. I mean, JC and a rookie, JC and somebody that's in the room already. Yeah, Troy Hill. I mean, with all due respect, Troy Hill had a phenomenal year last year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and discredit him at all for what he did.
But you don't want to see him as a run or a cornerback too, personally.
No, sir. No, sir. Like, because he had a phenomenal year in the slot last year.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. For one, I don't want to see Troy Hill go outside. That's number one. And if he does, then I want it to be a small schematical thing. I don't want it to be consistently like, yeah, every single week he's a cornerback too. No. If that's the case and we're having to go with JC and Stephon, then cool. Because what I do know is that if you put another cornerback on the side, or excuse me, on the opposite side of Stephon Gilmore, you can do a little something. We saw it last year with Bland in Dallas, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, and given, like, obviously, if we look at it from hindsight, that kind of ended up kind of shitty. But if we're just being honest and looking at it from a holistic standpoint, last season, Stephon really had shit strapped up. And when they had to throw to the other side of the field, that shit was picked off, and it was pretty much going for 6, damn near every time.
I mean, he did a phenomenal job when he had to step in and step up as a cornerback one, even at his advanced age. He did. I mean, he played some really solid snaps for Dallas last season, especially with Trayvon Diggs going down. So, I mean, I think he's still very serviceable as far as NFL corners go. Yeah, and you would be getting a good player, high IQ too, and can really bring some. I think it's part of the reason you saw the big jump in Deron Bland's play was because he had that mentorship from Gilly. So I think he brings that value too.